Right, final 2022 Six Nations. It's been an action-packed tournament, Jon Newcombe, and we're starting with we've three games on the same day for the first time in the championship. But it is the last weekend. It's the last day, Saturday, and we're going to kick off with probably the least high-profile game of the weekend. It's Wales against Italy. Wales are long odds on. The handicap is 29. What are you thinking here in Cardiff?
Yeah, it's very much the undercard, isn't it, to what lies ahead with Ireland taking on Scotland in the second game. And then, of course, Le Crunch in the evening, France versus England, with France going for the Grand Slam. As for Wales and Italy, they're the bottom two in the championship. Italy resigned to the fact that they're going to finish bottom for the 8th year in a row. Wales will be looking for that win just to lift morale after what has been a disappointing defence of their title. And you'd fancy them to cover the points, although I think Italy will be encouraged by the attacking display that they showed against Scotland and will fire a few shots. Wales need to fire some shots in attack because attack has been a problem area for them. But you bank on them scoring at least 5 tries in this match, with maybe 1 or 2 coming in at the other end. One bet I do actually like in this game, in this fixture, is the side to score first. And Italy have scored first in 2 of their 4 fixtures so far. They obviously didn't score against England, so that one doesn't count. And in the other game against Ireland, they lost a man early on. So the chances of them leading at half-time were seriously diminished. But in the other games, they've actually taken the lead. So I think the odds are something like 9-4 on Italy to score first in this match. And that represents decent value to me. And Gareth Davies is starting at scrum half for the first time in this championship. He'll be out to prove a point. He's normally good for a try or 2, scored a couple against Italy in the past. And if I was going to go with an anytime try scorer, the scrum half would perhaps be my pick. Okay,
great. Let's move on to the game in Dublin, Ireland against Scotland. So the key is that Ireland win, and at least they can put the pressure on France, or something similar anyway. They're long odds on to beat Scotland, and obviously they'll be buoyed by that dramatic win against England.
Yeah, I think for the neutrals, they'll be all hoping for an Ireland win just to make that final game that extra bit interesting. Obviously, we will be too, having backed Ireland to win the title. So hopefully they can take it to the wire. Ireland were struggling, of course, at scrum time against England. So that was a bit of a worry for them. But regardless of that, they look in pretty good shape to put away the Scots, who haven't won in Dublin for 12 years. And who themselves have sort of lived up to their pre-tournament tag of being inconsistent, in that one week they're beating England, the next week they're disappointing down in Cardiff. And that theme seems set to continue for a while. Ireland, well, they don't lose in Dublin. Their Aviva Stadium record is immense. Scotland, as we've alluded to, don't travel well across the Irish Sea. Ireland have got plenty of tries in them. They've scored twice as many as Scotland, and they've conceded about a quarter less than Scotland. So with those maths in place, you'd expect all the numbers to add up to a fairly comfortable Ireland victory. I think they might just be able to cover the handicap of 16. Scotland, like I said, haven't fired an attack, and defensively, they've not been as strong as they were last year. So there should be some gaps for Ireland to exploit, with the likes of Hugo Keenan, who's starting to get up and running now in this championship, perhaps profiting.
The game in Paris. Let's hope Ireland win. They cover the handicap. They get the bonus point, which puts the pressure on.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Irish fans, though, France sort of seem to deal with the pressure quite well. There's been 3 previous times when they've gone for a Six Nations Grand Slam: 2002, 2004, and 2010. The last time they won it, and they've delivered on each occasion. I think they thrashed Ireland in the first one in 2002 to complete the clean sweep. And then the last 2 were against England, and were actually very close games, less than a try in it. This time, though, I think the distance between France and England will be a little bit more, perhaps between 6 to 10 points. I just see France as being a composed outfit now. They're not the sort of side that will lose their heads. England will try and disrupt the French line-out, which didn't fire particularly well in Cardiff. So they'll certainly give it a good go, England. It's Le Crunch after all. It's the big rivalry, and pride and everything else is at stake. But the French team has the class about them, has the confidence about them as well to get the job done. Like I said in the past, they don't fluff their lines, and I expect them to deliver. and set themselves up nicely for the World Cup on home soil next season.
Okay, will they be good enough to cover the handicap, and who'll be a good bet maybe to go over first in the tries?
Yeah, I think they'll just about nudge over the handicap. I mentioned the winning margin of 6 to 10 points, probably nearing the top end of that. England too reliant on Marcus Smith's boot. They've only scored 2 tries outside of the Italy game. So I can't see them putting too many points on the board, maybe sort of around about the 12, 13 mark. And you'd fancy France to score at least 3 tries. And Damien Penaud, who was our pre-tournament pick as top try scorer, he's back from COVID. Delighted to hear that. And he's such a dangerous runner. Pops up in midfield, pops up on the wing, can score chip and chase tries. He can beat defenders for fun. And although it might not be the most expansive game, given what's at stake, I'd expect him to get his hands on the ball enough times to get opportunities. And if he will get an opportunity, you can more likely bank on him to finish it. So I would go with Damien Penaud.